What's up, folks? JV wins, Dogon SS, Conscious Approach live stream. Thanks to everybody for tuning in. Thank you to everyone who has subscribed to the channel, liked the videos, left comments. We are picking up some steam, and we certainly appreciate the engagement, man. Keep it going as we continue to kick out this logical content. If this is the first time that you are viewing any of the commentary on this channel, go ahead and check out the library, which is becoming more and more vast by the week. We got videos talking about a lot of stuff, man. We run the gamut, a lot of different subject matters. So, man, we kick the tires and light the fires over here on our little YouTube channel. But we appreciate everybody who's joined us along for the ride. Certainly appreciate you. With that out of the way, we'll go ahead and get started. Got a lot of interesting things to talk about tonight. First thing that we are going to get into. Now, are you familiar with this 20 versus 1 series that they show on YouTube? Are you familiar with this?
Yeah, I am familiar with it. Do I watch it? Now, that's another question. The answer is no.
Right, yeah. So for anyone who doesn't know what this is, it's this video series on YouTube, 20 versus 1, and essentially it's a content creator, and they put this content creator like in this situation where they're choosing amongst 20 women to like date or whatever. And the latest, one of the more recent episodes of 20 versus 1 features the gentleman that you see there. His name is JP. Apparently he is an up and coming artist. He's about to drop an album. Now, full disclosure, don't know who this guy is, but who he is musically isn't really the point of this topic anyway. So that's neither here nor there. But they put him in a scenario on 20 versus 1 in which they had 20 women and he had to choose which of the women that he wanted to date or go out with or whatever. And one of the women decided to prove to him firsthand why he should choose her. And the way that she wanted to prove to him why he should choose her is by showing him her gag reflex. For I don't think I need to elaborate on what goes down when a woman shows a man what her gag reflex looks like. Oh, now, in reaction to this, because this went down on the set of the episode, they went into the bathroom and she performed. She performed on site. On site, she what's a politically correct way to put this?
Fellatio?
Oral fellatio, yeah, oral fixation, fellatio, sloppy toppy, however you want to describe it. Right there on set. And in reaction to this, Cardi B of all people posted on Instagram in disgust at the fact that this woman so quickly was willing to do this for this guy because she feels like that's not really proper decorum. You got to wait. And so Cardi B is saying like, what's the deal? Cardi B is like, what's the deal with you women? Why are you guys doing this so fast? Like that's not really okay. So that's what I kind of wanted to talk about with this particular topic. And I see you're laughing, but that's really what happened.
This is unhinged.
Yeah. Yeah.
First of all, the first part of the story was wild, and then Cardi B of all people. I'm like,
yeah. So we're gonna skip pretty much ahead to the Cardi B retort to this whole dynamic, because that's where the meat of this is. Because the act itself, I'm not surprised. We all know that debauchery is the new normal nowadays, so I'm not shocked when stuff like this goes down. My outrage meter when it comes to stuff like this is very, very low. I have a very high tolerance for new human behavior when it comes to, stuff like this, favors, performances, if you will. But the meat of this topic is what Cardi B had to say. That's what has me the most interested. So we'll go ahead and play this video here, starting from the point where Cardi B gives her reaction, because that's pretty much the most important part that we want to touch on.
And it's like, if you want to sell pussy and shit like that, you could do that. But it's like, damn, to fuck a nigga, to suck a nigga dick in less than a minute with it's like, I want better for you. I want better for you. No conversations, no vibes, no conversations, no transaction, no nothing. Just eating dick in the afternoon at 5 o'clock. about your friends? Where's you bitches' friends? What about your friend? Where are your friends? I want to know where y'all bitches' friends is at.
Cardi, man, it's a complicated situation, man. But don't be too harsh on her. She just trying to catch her break. You know what I'm saying? But look, I got the explanation and everything on this album that I'm going to drop June 7th. I'm gonna talk about it all. I'm gonna talk about all. I'm gonna talk about it all. Just make sure you tune in to the album, and I'm gonna let it all be known June 7th, the coming out party. Make sure you tap in.
Oh Lord, have
All
mercy.
right, there you go.
What
So,
is
of course, there's
going
a
on?
plug for the new album that is coming out June 7th for this guy, Mr. JP here. Um, so, what do you think about the fact that Cardi B is the one who rebuked this? You know, telling it, where's the girl's friend? Now, mind you, there's actually a longer version of this where Cardi B says even more stuff. This was kind of a truncated version, but the general idea, the point is made, you know. But she's not really a fan of how this participant on 20 versus 1 decided to really go in on why she should be selected as on this game show. That's what I call it. But what do you make of her reaction, Cardi B? Like, what do you make of what she had to say about how that went down?
I can see where she's coming from. Especially from the aspect of, hey, if you out here selling that thing, she said that's one thing, but to just do it on a house and you really don't even know this person, to her is crazy. Now, if you do it on a house for money, well, it's not really on a house anymore. You know what I'm saying? You're getting paid. In this context, it appears as though she's not getting paid. But so Cardi B's disgust with this is the optics of it. In reality, I'm pretty sure this woman got paid for that. It's a YouTube thing. She didn't really even have to do anything. So it's not like we actually saw her do it. Another thing is that this guy's got an album to promote. And he mentioned in his retort that, hey, man, she's just trying to get a come up. And she did. So now, who want that rep? That's another thing. Who wants to have that come up? Oh, you're the girl that gave JP some top in less than 5 seconds. If you want that rep, that's, hey, bro, clout's the new drug. And the whole thing is going viral is a check to them. That's what they think. So this guy here, very modern, ready to play the game. Apparently, he's willing to do anything it takes. And I am familiar with Sir JP. He's got a catchy song floating around on TikTok. He lives alternative lifestyles openly. He's a interesting young man, and he'll say anything. And from this footage here, it seems like he'll do anything too. And hey, y'all, make sure y'all check out the album. I'll explain it to you. So I think I caught the gist there. I think I saw what happened. I don't need to know the specifics. And who the hell is she? So overall, this young lady, I believe, got paid. The optics still looks like she did it for free, which is the problem here. And so Cardi B saying that, hey, I talk about selling box, I talk about selling it. You're out here doing it for free. What are you doing? So I more or less agree with that sentiment, to be honest. if you're going to be giving it up that fast, you might as well get paid for it. So to just do it on the house for clout is ridiculous. So what are your thoughts, sir? Do you agree with Miss Cardi B with her outrage with this young lady giving top in the bathroom?
I agree with the sentiment. I just don't like is the fact that she said it.
Yes, wow.
Because she is one of the pioneers of what we like to affectionately call box rap. I think I would put her at the forefront of modern box rap. What was the name of the old school female rapper who called out Ice Spice for prostitution rap? You remember that story that we
Yeah, I
did?
remember. Yeah, I remember. I don't remember the
Um,
name though. My bad, y'all.
yeah. So like, yeah, we got to look that up. We did a topic a while back where it was a chick who was from the old school in the hip hop game, and she was calling out Ice Spice for being it's not actual rap or hip hop, it's prostitution rap. And I think that one of the pioneers for that in the modern day sense was Cardi, normalizing, making it cool, trendy, fashionable, vogue to sell yourself, not because you just happen to luck into that, but because that's what we do now is we sell box. And it's interesting that you brought up optics when it came to that video. I didn't actually view it that way. Like when I watched it the first time, I assumed that she was being paid to do that.
Mhm.
Like, that was my natural assumption. So
Mhm.
then, if that was my natural assumption, Cardi's comments confuse me because if she is being paid, what issue do you have with it? Because women should be selling their box all the time, no matter what.
Yeah.
So because I was under the assumption that she did get paid, I felt as though Cardi was coming at this from a standpoint of traditionalism, which I thought was weird and ironic given the rhetoric and content inherent in her own lyrics. To
Correct.
me, that just doesn't make sense. Because my thing is, what difference does it make how fast one receives the service if the service is being paid for? I expect for the delivery of such service to be rather expeditious. Like when I go on to Amazon and I'll order something off the internet, I'm expecting for it to get here fast.
Prime.
I'm not expecting to have to wait very long. Yeah,
No.
I pay what, $13.99 a month for a Prime account. I'm expecting that as soon as I spend my money, I'm getting this service either the day of or the very next day.
Yeah, overnight.
There is no right. There is no expectation on my behalf to have to wait for anything.
Correct.
So this guy, Mr. JP, where is the expectation for him to have to wait for anything? Thus, where are these comments from Cardi B coming from in which she's saying is unbecoming of this woman to, deliver these services so fast? If it was someone else saying this, someone more traditional, someone more from the old school, someone who looked at it from the standpoint of these types of things aren't supposed to take place so quickly or under the guise or premise of money being spent or a transaction, I would give more credence to the messenger. But because it's her saying this and she's openly made songs talking about broke boys don't deserve no kitty and talking about how when she was a stripper, she lured guys to places and then get them tied up and robbed and all of this other stuff that she's talked about openly, publicly. Granted, she's a bit rehabilitated on that front. She's kind of left that life behind. We're assuming if she's telling the truth and being honest. So I give her credit for that. But nevertheless, her personal history is the direct antithesis of these comments that she's making about how this chick looks bad because she gave this thing up so fast, when there's no conversation or not a couple of days or whatever she was saying, because she didn't just say transaction. She said conversation. She was saying, just right off top, right away without anything else going down. And my whole thing is if, there is an exchange if there's a good, a service that is being, provided in exchange for money, there's no expectation for waiting. I'm not going to wait for nothing. If I spend my money, I'm getting it right now. When I go to the grocery store and I spend my money, I'm walking out the store with what I paid for. Amazon, it doesn't matter where I'm spending my money. There's an expectation that if the money's being spent, I'm getting it immediately. And I'm pretty sure in this scenario, he's getting it immediately. So the question therein becomes whether we want to continue to be okay with such services being rendered immediately and that activity being normalized so long as money is being spent. Because if y'all are so uncomfortable with the optics, my perspective is who gives a crap what the optics are if the truth is this is what's happening in the world anyway. I don't care about optics. So why should she? And the last thing that I'll say is you bring up an interesting point about attention. And I've made this point as well on this channel several times, and I'll reiterate. Um, in this current society, actual currency is no longer the only form of currency. There is also attention currency, which oftentimes can be converted into actual currency at some point in the future.
Correct.
And for a lot of people who aspire to be in that eye, they want to be in the entertainment industry, they want to be in the music industry, they want to be social media famous, they want to be content creator famous. You know, these people who want to replicate the Jake Paul, Logan Paul formula, you know, those DeMillo chicks or these other people who become so big by being famous on the internet. Like, for these types of individuals who aspire to this, like, sometimes actual currency isn't necessary. Sometimes the attention currency suffices all the same. And so for people like her, who's probably living in that line of work, who's probably aspiring to do that, perhaps attention is the only currency that she needs to satiate whatever needs she needs to get to wherever she's trying to go. So I understand Cardi B's sentiments. I don't like the fact that she's the one who has said them because I think it is a bit ironic, dare I say hypocritical, given the context of her music, where she champions this kind of behavior so long as there is some tangible benefit that you are receiving in return. And that tangible benefit is not of the wholesome traditional variety. It is of the transactional variety. And oftentimes money does not have to be that transaction. It can be the transaction of attention. In the rap game nowadays, they started to use the word clout, but it means the same thing. Payment in clout or attention can sometimes be just as tantamount as the payment of actual money. And so for these individuals who perceive that to be a worthwhile investment to make, that's all they need to do. So I think it should have came from somebody else. But these days, these people don't have accountability, and they think that despite the energy that they put into the universe, they can just say stuff like this, and no one's going to check them on it. But you know, she needs to be checked because I think that it rang rather hollow for me when it came to what she had to say.
Nah, man, and I agree. I'm sure that girl got Cardi B in her playlist. Pretty sure that girl got WAP or whatever the hell in her playlist. You know, Bodak Yellow or whatever her stuff is. Bodak and whatever. And, you know, she got all of that stuff, you know, in her playlist. You know what I'm saying? I'm pretty sure she performed Fellatio to some Cardi B tracks. So for this lady to feel as though she didn't have an influence on this overall mindset within our culture, you're talking about, have decorum. What? She's a mother of how many? I don't know, but she walks around with no decorum. So how would you ask? Why would you ask the people who follow you to do anything different? Why not take it to the next level? You know, you too scared to do this, Cardi? The thing is, man, the envelope always gets pushed. You know, she pushed some envelopes when she first came out, and it made a lot of people uncomfortable. And then there were older people that were saying, "Have some decorum, Cardi B." And you know, Cardi B's influence amongst other box rappers has converted the mindset of a lot of women into that of nymphos, into that of money driven nymphos. And so everybody's going to take that differently. So honestly, it's just a tool. They say, hey, here you go. And everybody who listened to it grabs that tool. Now, what people decide to do with that hammer is all on them. But you empowered these women by telling them that they can just get a box to anybody. So why not give it to a celebrity guy that's on his way to go blow up? You know, maybe he can take me with him. You know, so why fault her for this? And so younger people always take it to the next level. They always raise the stakes. You know, they always one up the previous generation. You know, I wish we had some of these moves that these young guys is doing when we were playing. You know what I'm saying? Dribble, dribble, step back, boop, boop, boop. And I was like, damn, what? I wish we had some of that. You know, our best things were crossovers. You know, we had sauce, you know, but we felt like since we had more sauce while we were playing and a crossover and other things, we felt like we were better than the other generation who was dribbling, you know, straight up and down. But the game always evolves and the younger people always take it to the next level. And so Cardi B, who took it to the next level from the previous generations, all right, now has children out here in the game, in the world, out here participating, and they're taking it to the next level. Would you surprised she did a behind the back, between the legs windmill? Hey, this is in game. The game was over. Have some respect. It's like, hey man, when else were they going to pull this stunt? We never heard of her before. And like you said, if the clout's the thing, you know what I'm saying? Any pub is good pub. Hey, now y'all gonna follow her and see what the next crazy thing she gonna do. Mess around, get on a podcast, mess around, get on a whatever. And now everybody know her name as that girl who first, you know, hey, it could be that thing. And like you said, that was a good point. If she was already living that life anyway, what's this? You know, she'll take it there when the other ones don't. So my whole thing is that, you know, yeah, this is the wrong messenger kind of situation. It amazes me how these people who preach no morals turn around and try to be moral on other people.
I don't understand it. Yeah.
It is ridiculous.
Yeah.
So yeah, man. Hey, I'm not saying I agree with this, but at the same time, as I just mentioned, you know, I'm not surprised these kids are taking it to the next level. And so as for this JP guy, you know, this guy, I could tell by his whole energy set that he loves all of this. He wants to be famous. He always thought he was going to be famous, and he's doing whatever it takes. He knows that he has to do whatever it takes, and he's willing to do it. And so that's like new behavior. Like people always had that, but he knows he wants to go viral. I'll do that. Hell yeah. Yeah, that's a good idea. You know, success. He made it the conscious approach.
Yeah.
So yeah, so he you know, he's willing to do that, and she's the female reciprocal of that. So interesting dynamic here. Another case of wrong messenger. We tend to get that a lot here.
Yeah, I think we need to start a series, an official series, where we create graphics and everything of like, you know, the right message, wrong messenger series, episode number whatever, because that has become an ongoing theme here.
Yeah, we're gonna get a swooping graphic, you know, for across the screen. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
something like that.
Yeah, I mean, I just, you know, maybe the one bright side of this is perhaps people like Cardi B are starting to sense that we may be at an inflection point in which we need to decide, are we getting to a point where this is going too far? We need to dial some of this back. You know, and I'm not saying that she's thinking that. I'm just, I'm trying to infuse some optimism into this whole scenario, because otherwise it doesn't make sense to me how you can contextually be what you've been musically, which is at the end of the day what most people are going to know you and recognize you for. Everyone doesn't know you personally. Despite what you may do on social media and the internet, no one knows who you are as a person. So who you are is your art. And you've put this art into the world, suggesting that the normalization of, you know, this type of behavior is okay. You know, give it up early and often, so long as he's paying for it. Do this or do that. It's okay, so long as he's paying for it. Do this or do that, so long as you're getting everything back. The thing between your legs is your tool to leverage in order to make it into the world, which is ironic because feminism feminism preaches the exact opposite of that. You know, historically, feminism has always been, I am more than what's between my legs. Appreciate me for my contributions in my mind. But this counterculture, particularly in entertainment and the music industry, is doing it a disservice because they're saying, no, lean into it. Seriously, lean into it for real. Like what we are is what we can leverage between our legs in order to get what we want in the world. And she is at the forefront of that. So when you are at the forefront of that, I roll my eyes when you are telling another woman who's following your doctrine, because she's using that to leverage to get what she wants in the world. Whether she's being paid directly in currency or not is beside the point. She gleans that if she does this, thereby you leveraging what she has as a woman, she can get what she needs to get where she wants in the world. To me, it's the same thing that she's always preached in her music all this time. So what's the difference? Just because optically you don't see the money being exchanged, you don't know what she's getting in return for doing that.
You know she got paid.
Right. The point is she's doing that in order to get where she needs to go, which is what y'all talk about in these goofy songs all the time. So for you to feel so compelled to get on the internet to talk about where are your friends and you shouldn't be doing this, maybe you are realizing that you've taken this too far and we've reached a possible inflection point where we need to sit back and reflect on whether we are okay with all of this as a society. And maybe she and other leaders like her, because whether we like it or not, these individuals are leaders in this community. These people who worship this music, we don't like it, we don't agree with it, but just because we don't agree with it doesn't make it any less true. These people out here, this is their Bible, this music stuff. It's their doctrine, it's their 10 commandments, and they're going to follow it to the end. So you know this, you know the power that this music carries, the weight that it has. Perhaps we've reached an inflection point where we need to sit back and reflect on whether we are okay with this general direction as we continue the downward spiral, because they are leaders for this stuff. They are shepherding these people, these individuals who don't think for themselves. So I just don't like it, because at the end of the day, she doesn't realize this is an inflection point. She is just a no accountability person who doesn't realize the hypocrisy in her comments at the end of the day. And that's what we got going. And that's what we got going on with this. But I don't know, maybe some social media expert can sit her down one day and be like, hey, do you realize how these words come off to people who know better? Because this to me otherwise is goofy behavior. I do believe she was paid. We may not have seen the exchange of money in front of the camera, but she received some sort of compensation for that. And even if she didn't, she received proverbial compensation. Correct. She received attention. She received attention, both of which in 2024 are very powerful forms of currency in their own right. So I hear you, but I don't hear you, Miss Cardi B.
Yeah, 100, bro. That 20v1 stuff, I mean, I get it, young dudes trying to make their money, so I ain't gonna hate on it like that, but I just think this stuff's horrendous. I think that whole premise, because some of the stuff that's being said, all these little game shows that people are doing it's black people doing it. Yeah. And these little game shows where we're turning each other down or popping balloons, like I don't know what all this weird stuff is. I cannot stand it. And we just got to do better, man. So it's a lot of young people who watch this stuff. A lot of young people gonna think that's what's popping. You know what I'm saying? Other people gonna try to have sex acts now on pod. That's gonna be a thing now. Just to go viral. It's on these Fresh and Fit shows or whatever the hell. And then they gonna take one of the girls in the back room. And it's all implied. Yeah, it's all implied. Yeah, just do that for the ratings and the stuff. So it's clickbait stuff to me. It's album promotion stuff to me. And for Cardi B to take the bait, she should have known better. And she should have called this out for the publicity stunt that it was. But to sit there and try to tell her how to conduct her vagina when you told her to just be wild with it, that's a wild thing to be doing.
Yep. Yeah.
So best of luck to you, Miss Cardi B. Hopefully you clean up your act. Maybe you do have to make those songs to pay your bills, but try to clean up some of your lyrics. And while you're on stage, try cleaning up some of your costumes. While you're making your videos, try cleaning up some of your costumes and some of your dance routines. But until you do those things, I don't think you have any moral high ground to tell a thought how to use her box. So, man, good luck, Miss Cardi B. And JP, bro, get your bag, man. This guy, I think the young guys love him. So do your thing, bro. He clearly got the formula.
Yeah. Yeah. Imagine a person who makes thought music telling thoughts how to be thoughts. I don't understand.
What?
I don't get it. I don't get it.
Come on,
I don't
man.
get it. But I guess, narcissists, man, narcissists are running the world. They're definitely running the internet.
Mhm.
And they can just say whatever they want and no one's going to check them. So,
Mhm. Well,
it's
hey,
crazy.
make sure you guys hit the like and subscribe too, by the way.
Yeah. Yeah. Even you, Cardi, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe.
Because I know you watching. Stop playing.
Oh, righteous.
Hmm.
Now we got everybody's favorite target for accusations of culture vulturing, DJ Vlad, coming under fire for insinuating that he was going to get a Princeton University professor fired, or at least get her job put in jeopardy for what the professor thought was putting DJ Vlad in his place. Now, to give everybody some context on what's going on here with this story, everybody knows that the whole Kendrick Lamar and Drake beef is going on, right? DJ Vlad, who is a part of the hip DJ Vlad, for better or for worse, I would argue for worse, is a part of the tapestry of hip hop. And he does his interviews. His channel is wildly successful on YouTube. He does interviews. He has people on his show all the time. I don't even think he actually does anything with music specifically anymore. He's just a media personality type person at this point. Joe Button before Joe Button, if you will. And he commented on one of Kendrick Lamar's songs, saying that he felt like it wasn't mastered or mixed good enough and it wasn't a good enough finished product. This woman who you see here, the professor of Princeton University, chimed in on Twitter and told DJ Vlad that he basically needs to sit this one out because he's white. And therefore, because he's white, he should not be involved in this conversation because this is a black folk issue.
Oh.
DJ Vlad then in turn told her that is unbecoming of her as a professor, and he is going to contact the university because he felt like this was not the right way for her to go about doing this. So this is a mess, and essentially what mostly has taken place as a result of this is people commenting on how this was not cool on the part of DJ Vlad to do this. So DJ Vlad is getting a lot of backlash because he seemingly threatened this woman's job because she chin checked him on staying out of this particular conversation because he's not black. So this says DJ Vlad receives backlash for threatening black professor's job over Drake versus Kendrick Lamar comments. Excuse me. Social media users think DJ Vlad went too far. DJ Vlad is trending today for all the wrong reasons. Yesterday, the personality took to Twitter/X to weigh in on Kendrick Lamar's new Drake diss, Not Like Us. He made a comment about the mix, suggesting it could use some improvement. Morgan Jenkins, an author, editor, professor at Princeton University, and niece of Rodney Darkchild Jenkins, then replied, urging him to stay out of the viral conversation. Quote, "You are right," she wrote. "This is a black folk affair." Vlad didn't take kindly to the remark and quickly fired back. Wait, so a professor at Princeton is telling me that a white person shouldn't be allowed to voice their opinion about hip hop? Is that how you interact with your students? He then asked. What I'm saying is that you put your opinion in a discussion that's not needed. This conversation is and should center black people, not you, she responded. And so let's continue to go down here. So unfortunately, things only escalated from there. Quote, "Don't try to change your words now," he then wrote. "I'll be reaching out to Princeton about this on Monday." They continued to go back and forth, with Vlad later threatening to get the remark put on her permanent record and seemingly threaten her job. Countless social media users are now weighing in on the exchange, with many arguing that he went too far. Content creator at Colorful Story, who goes by at CF Story on TikTok, shared her take on the debacle, which has since gone viral on X. Pay attention and watch whiteness work, she wrote earlier today. DJ Vlad was told this is a black folk affair, and his immediate response was to try and get a black woman fired because this was a space for black people, about black people, and him being told this isn't for him means she needs to be fired. Comedian Kevin Fredericks, or Kev on Stage, also had a similar take. Vlad is whack for a myriad of reasons, he explained, but in this, you can tell he saw a black woman in a predominantly white university and tried to use his whiteness against her. Disgusting. What do you think of DJ Vlad receiving backlash for his exchange for a Princeton University professor? So, all that good stuff. So, again, Vlad said the mix could use some improvement. So, I think the original tweet is here somewhere. Let's see. While I try to find, I could have sworn that Vlad's original comments about the song itself, which were just on the technical side of things, were on this article. But I'll let you go ahead and get started with your reactions to this situation. What do you think? What do you make about this? Do you think Vlad is in the wrong for saying he's going to contact the university? What do you think about the professor saying he needs to stay out of the conversation because he's white? Like, there's so many angles to tackle this one from.
Yeah, there is. So, yeah, I think Vlad is absolutely in the wrong. I think he's wrong as soon as he rolls out of bed. I feel like every action he does is wrong, and his channel is wrong, and I feel like he does feel like police. He operates like that. And so this was a situation where he observed and reported and say, you know what, I'm gonna get you in trouble. You know, last time I've seen something like that was like in like middle school, bruh. You know, where somebody was like, you know what, I'm just gonna tell on you. And that person really got up and told on the person, you know. And so this guy Vlad, he feels as though he's on the right side of everything. And what I say the right side, I mean the white side of everything. And so when he feels like that, he's going to use that card. He does that. And so he's done that before on other situations that were centered around race or centered around certain ethnicities or religious groups. And he doubles, triple downs on you know, threatening vernacular similar to this and other things. So I've seen him operate on social media like this before, but never to the extent of, you know what, I'm just going to get you fired. I mean, that was extremely petty on his behalf. So I feel as though, yes, he's in the wrong. I'm not sure if he apologized yet. If he did, hopefully he has to take a media sensitivity class. He probably also has to go to the feet of Mos Def or Andre 3000 and ask for forgiveness. Go on a world tour and tell everybody how sorry he is of trying to get this professor fired. But if he simply does it in a tweet or some type of what do you call that, blurb or whatever, I don't think that's sufficient enough. And I feel offended by him doing this. I feel like he offended my whole community. So I feel as though he should apologize to all of us. So that's my stance on that one, sir. What are your thoughts on Vladimir trying to get this sister fired from her job at Princeton?
So what Vlad said was, Kendrick's Not Like Us needed a better mix. It takes away from the song. So that was what his tweet was. He was saying the song needed a better mix. He felt as though the mix took away from the song.
Of course.
So I like Vlad as a whole. I've never understood why Vlad is as big as he is. You know, that's definitely a, without trying to take away, because I don't know his whole history. And I know I'm gonna sound like I'm pandering here, but I think I've been pretty consistent on this channel with the appreciation of people putting in work.
Yeah.
So I don't know Vlad's history. So what I'm assuming is he's gotten to the point that he's gotten to because he's put some work in. Therefore, I don't want to take away from his career solely on the grounds that he put in work to get there, not through its merits necessarily, but solely based upon the idea that he put in some work to get there. So I don't want to take anything away from that. And the reason why I preface my comments by bringing that up is because I do want to say I've always not understood why his channel is as big as it is, why he is such an authority figure in the hip hop journalism space, when really all he does is just interview people. He doesn't really do anything critically. He just interviews people. And prior to that, he was involved in, he was a DJ and he did his thing on the musical side, but now he's more so a musical pundit, but he's not even really a pundit because he doesn't give his own opinion. He just interviews people. So why he's such a go-to outlet for so many people in the industry has always confused me. I don't understand it. Having said that, though, I'm unfortunately going to have to come to his defense somewhat here.
Go for it.
And I don't like what the professor said. I'll just put it that way.
She was out of pocket.
Yeah. I don't like what she said. Now, let me be very clear. I hate the fact that he went to I'm calling the university and all of this other like get out of here. Like what are we doing here, bro? So you're gonna tell on somebody? You finna call the principal's office? Like, what are we doing here?
Yeah.
Like, bro, you're successful in your own right, and you're gonna tell on this lady and get her job put in jeopardy? That's weak. That's beyond weak. So I didn't like that. That to me was disgusting. But I also didn't like what she said. I didn't like what she said because, and I'm saying I didn't like what she said because to me, if Vlad had just sort of defended his perceived merits to be a part of that conversation, but eliminated the whole I'm going to call the university part, I kind of probably would have been all the way on Vlad's side. But he lost me with the whole I'm going to reach out to Princeton on this. To me, that was super duper whack. But I don't like what she said. I'm going to be honest. I don't like what she said. I don't like this white people cannot be involved in hip-hop discussions narrative that black people continue to kick nowadays. I firmly disagree with it. I'm sorry. And I know a lot of black people don't like that. But hey, black people, don't get mad at me. Get mad at your own community for selling this thing as a product to communities outside of your own. I didn't create this dynamic. Y'all did. Years and years ago, it was basically decided that hip hop is going to be made into a major genre. It is going to be packaged and sold and bartered to communities outside of those of the people who make it. We read the numbers and the stats on this channel before. Check out some of our previous videos when we touch on topics like this. The majority of the consumers of this genre of music are people who are not black. The majority of the people who spend money on this genre of music are people who are not black. The majority of the people who attend music festivals, which are headlined by hip hop artists, are not black. Okay, before we transitioned to streaming and people stopped buying physical media, the majority of the people who were buying hip hop albums in the stores were white people or non-black people, not white people. I mean, not black people, majority. This music, this product ceased to be black only 20 years ago, 15, 20 years ago. People like DJ Vlad have been a part of, like I said, the tapestry of this genre of music for so long. They do feel as though they have a rightful place to talk about this stuff. Vlad didn't get into any sort of minutia culturally with his take on the songs or the beef or whatever. He talked about it from a technical standpoint. He said he felt as though the song needed a better mix. Otherwise, it wasn't as strong. That to me is an innocuous comment that doesn't necessarily warrant you saying that he doesn't have the right to be involved in this conversation because he's not white. And even if you truly believe that, I firmly disagree with that on a fundamental level because we've been packaged this thing up and sold it to everybody. Everybody participates in this thing. So once again, I bring it back to my central point with this conversation, and I've maintained this for a long time now. If you want to be able to substantiate one's ability to be able to make the claim that this is a black-owned thing and it should not be talked about, commentated on, consumed by anybody who is not black, then the proprietors of the music and those in the industry need to do a better job of making it very clear that this is a particular piece of art, entertainment, whatever you want to call it, that is not meant to be actively participated in by people who are not black. Last time I checked, black people don't do that. The black community as a whole does not do that. Rather, we sell it to everybody because we want to be a part of the pursuit of the American dream, which is economic and financial freedom. How do you obtain that? By leveraging whatever creation that you make to sell it to as many people as possible. So I know I'm getting grandiose and I'm getting sort of galaxy brain, big picture with my take on this. But my general idea is over the years, I have become increasingly uncomfortable with people from the black community chastising non-black people on how they can and cannot participate within the ecosystem of hip hop when the music is sold to everybody, white people included. I just fundamentally disagree with that. And it's not because I disagree with the idea that that should be a truth. It's that I disagree with it being practically applied because that's not actually how this thing is distributed. It's given to everybody. So I just disagree with what the professor said. I don't like the fact that he went so far as to get, so childish and petty and small and just really being, there's a word I want to use, but I want this video to get served up, so I'm not going to use it. But he really stooped to a low level to take it there. But I also don't like what she said, if I'm being totally honest. I don't like what she said. I don't like it. And again, it's not because in spirit I think she's totally wrong. It's because you need to holler at your own people who decided that they wanted to sell this thing to everybody, because it's that environment that has allowed people like DJ Vlad to be persistent in their participation of the dialogue surrounding this music. It is what it is. And the only thing that I'll say about Vlad, and this is not to defend him, I'm not trying to defend him, but he gets that on a very regular basis. This whole, you're a culture vulture, you're this white dude who's taking advantage of the art that black people create. You have no place here. You don't need to be here. You need to get out. He gets that a lot. Mm-hmm. And again, I'm not saying that it's entirely wrong necessarily, but I would imagine that it probably gets on his nerves that he has to deal with getting that all the time. And so, he probably lashed out as strongly as he did, talking about he's going to call the university because he just gets so tired of people telling him he can't be a part of this thing. He probably just it's so annoyed because he hears it so much. And he does, because I see a lot of it, like a lot of people do in the internet, at least, come at him on some, you can't talk about this because you're white stuff. And so I would imagine that over time, he's probably become very aggravated and agitated, having to deal with that kind of, rhetoric and dialogue on a regular basis. But be that as it may, I do not like the fact that he seemingly threatened this woman's job. That's ridiculous. That's out of bounds. It's crazy. His work has largely seemed to be somewhat siphoning of the resources of the art that black people put into the world. But I also would say that black people have played just as equal of a role in allowing their art to be siphoned in the first place. Due to market forces, economics, whatever you want to call it, that is the reality, is all I'm saying here. I'm not trying to place blame or say that this is somebody's fault, this is their fault. I'm not trying to do that. I'm just trying to say this is what has happened here. So if DJ Vlad can't talk about this stuff, then neither can the rest of these people. Like, you need to call out Eminem, you need to call out, the white rapper from Cypress Hill, and all of these other white people who are very much a part of this thing. You should also make sure that they can't talk about it either if Vlad can't talk about it. So I just don't like that whole conversation until you button up who can and cannot actively participate in this thing. I think comments like that are out of bounds. So, I guess both of them are wrong. I don't like Vlad more because I don't like people's jobs I don't like livelihoods being threatened. That bothers me. I hate that kind of stuff. But I also don't like what she said, if I'm being totally honest.
Yeah, I mean, I can see, all of that. I agree with what you're saying. I agree with it to a certain extent. To the point to where, for the sister here, I do agree with the fact that she should have chose better words, especially if you are a Princeton professor or whatever, or just at that level of academia where this stuff could get used against you. I would like her to rephrase that better. That the beef has been getting a lot of people passionate, man, and she stepped out of pocket there. No justification. She should have chose better words. Because when you're a professor, you're constantly a professional. So, and she could not say that in her classroom or board meeting. You know what I'm saying? So, so she gave him a window to say like that's inappropriate. And so I agree with that. And I also agree with the fact that he went too far. But the part where I think that I feel like Vlad is intentional. I don't think he's tired of it. I think he's an intentional person. And I'm gonna just go ahead and call him what he is, bro. And this guy, he is a culture vulture, and he moves like a colonial person. And he's stepping in our space. She should have chose better words. She should have said, "You're not hip hop, so you can't weigh in on this." So she didn't have to bring in race. She should have just said, "You're not hip hop, bro. You can't weigh in on this." Because hip hop people don't care about no mix and master and a rap beef. His initial comment of saying that the mix and master, whatever, was his way of pledging allegiance to his brethren, Drake. And he takes up for his brethren, no matter what. So he was standing up for Drake in a because it was a banger. Not Like Us is a banger. And he can't sit there and say that he agrees with this. So he had to give a critical take. Throwing something out there so people can consume a hip hop authority. And so whenever they're listening to it, they can say, "Nah, but it ain't mixed right." How you know? How you know?
Well, wasn't he a DJ? Like, didn't he do?
He can say that. I'm talking about the regular everyday person who read Vlad's thing and then listening to it and going, "Yeah, that ain't mixed
right." Yeah, no one would know that. Yeah, no one would know that. Yeah.
So DJ Vlad, you know what I'm saying? DJ Vlad's an interesting character. He treats his interviews like pornography actors. And he uses them he just pays money. How his channel got big? Easy. You pay rappers who want money. I'll pay you $2,000 just to sit down here and talk. You're gonna sit here and run your mouth talking about all your ex-Fed cases. I'm gonna get all these views. And I'm gonna make, especially, back in the day, I don't know how much they make on a video, but $200,000, $300. I only pay this guy, 10 bands. And that's how he gets rich. That's how he got a channel big. He was just paying rappers and treating them like porno people, and just pump out tapes. I record you for a whole hour and then pump out different versions. Yeah. He treats it like that. And so these guys have to see how they're getting used by this man who moves like a colonial person. So that's how he got his claim. That's how he got his name in the thing. He is not a hip hop authority. She should have said, "You're not hip hop. You can't weigh in on this. You add to the garbage in our culture. You don't remove it. So his whole premise is to get people on that couch, get them to talking about all that crazy stuff. There's people that left his couch and turned up dead because of beef stuff, because he pressing and asking questions about street politics. You can't go do that. Street people should know better, but these young guys just want clout. And Vlad don't care. And his whole stance is, hey, you don't got to sit on, you ain't got to answer these questions. You know, getting piece of the cultures locked up, getting piece of the cultures, get young people watching these things thinking that crime pays. This guy is a detriment to the genre. He does not have a stake. He does not have a say. He is not an authority. So my whole thing is, once he got to talking, college professor, I hope she articulated her words better, because she did put her job on the line by saying that. If Vlad didn't say it, somebody else would have. So she should have chose her words better and just said he ain't hip hop, because he ain't hip hop. He all up in the genre, but he's in it to exploit it. No different than Drake is. All up in the genre, but in it to exploit it. Telling our little kids to do whatever the hell, and buy these girls Chanel and twerk it up. And so, I don't advocate any of these people. So he was just coming to the defense for his Crody. So I don't vouch for this man. Never have, never will. This guy's an absolute clown. And that was just a clown demonstration that he displayed. I feel like, what I'm saying, he feels emboldened. I don't feel like he lost his temperature. I feel like he think he's emboldened. Who's going to stop me? Y'all going to cancel me? Y'all haven't done it yet. We'll see about that, Vladimir. But I don't really co-sign this guy or his actions. I feel like he moves intentionally, and I feel like he's no different than those execs at these major record labels. That he's in it for the exploitation.
Yeah, that I agree with. I hope for her sake that was her mindset, everything that you just put out there, because otherwise she is going to incur the wrath of people who are going to accuse her of race baiting.
Yeah,
because she didn't elocute herself. She just went straight to, you can't talk about this because you're white. Agreed. And that's a lazy way to do things, especially nowadays.
Agreed.
You cannot, in 2024, with the way that the social construction of hip hop is situated, tell somebody who is white that they cannot be a part of hip hop, because at that, what you're doing is you're opening up the door for all of these other white people in hip hop to be offended by those comments. And that's more trouble than it's worth to have to deal with stuff like that. So what it kind of seems like is happening, based on what I'm reading here, is him going the snitch route is so inflammatory that it's sweeping what she said under the rug.
I agree.
And everybody's distracted by his snitch route. But if he hadn't gone there, she would have had to answer for that. She would have had to answer for that, because you cannot, given the history of this music, make those kinds of comments when your own community has decided that they are more than happy to pimp this music out to the entire world. It's difficult for you to make that kind of comment when the music as an industry, as a business, and as an art form has made so many concessions to the opposite of those types of comments. It's hard for you to stand on that. So that was the issue, that I didn't like what she said. I didn't like that. I feel like it undermines people who have a thoughtful way that they go about attaching people like Vlad to this particular ecosystem. It undermines that, because it makes it convenient for them to clap back and say, why are you making it about race just because I'm white? And you don't want to give people like that kind of leeway.
Agreed.
You're doing yourself a disservice. And I think other people who participate in a conversation like this do themselves a disservice when they leap to the low-hanging fruit of, you can't do this because you're white. I mean, I think that's a lazy take. So for her sake, I hope that what you're saying is correct and that was her mindset. I'll give her that benefit of the doubt, but I just didn't like what she said. I felt like that was unjust. And if it was anyone other than Vlad, she really would have had to have answered for that. And even with it being Vlad, if he hadn't have made it about him telling on her, she still would have had to answer for that. So
somebody would have said something. In today's culture, and you're at an institution like Princeton, yeah, I mean, I agree, man. Somebody would have said something like, this is not professional. She would have got reprimanded somehow. So yeah, she should have chose her words better, And I'm presuming she's a doctor or something, so she knows how to choose better words. But I just really think she got caught up in the beef thing. Was crazy, bro. All week people going crazy. So she lost it, felt emboldened herself. Right. So it's like, girl, you still gotta, even if you don't work at Princeton, I don't know what her current status is, but there's still going to be future employers. Like, you can't be talking like race like that. You just can't. You definitely can't be you can't be like exclusive, excluding people due to.
Yeah, but I don't even think if she was at an HBCU and she said that, I still think she would have caught flack. Like, I just think
the school would have, yeah.
I just
what y'all doing about her?
Yeah, right. I just think you can't say stuff like that given the context. That's, you know what I'm saying? It's not like we're not talking about like social justice initiatives. Yeah, we ain't talking about civil rights. We ain't talking about all of that other stuff. Colin Kaepernick taking knees and police brutality. You're talking about a major genre of music and entertainment. And, look at any data on monetary, support and the pumping of money behind hip hop music. A lot of that money generated in, a lot of those money generated from the bank accounts of people that are not black. You know what I'm saying? Let's just put it that way. And so it's just, from that standpoint, when you make that kind of comment, you have to answer. You just got to be careful. You got to answer for stuff like that. Yeah. Because this music ain't for just black people anymore. And I'm not here saying that that's a good thing. I'm just saying that that's the way it is. This thing is a corporate piece of entertainment that is owned by everybody. And it's been like that for a long time. So when you make those kind of comments, people who do actively participate in it, who aren't black, are going to feel some type of way about that. Yeah, and if this woman here, Miss, what's her name? If she's so disenchanted because so many, non-black people are taking part in the commentary of hip hop, then she needs to get with her black leaders and black coalition to figure out a constructive way to take back their art. Because barring something like that happening, you can't take white people's rights to be a part of that conversation away. And it just is what it is, man. It's not like I'm saying that's right. It's just reality.
Well, I agree with that. And the last thing I'll say is, she should have chose the word hip hop, because white people can be hip hop. So hip hop is the idea of hip hop is in itself culture. And so it is a way of thinking, a way of being while you're living in America. And it's about having a mindset of not being materialized and not being commodified, which it got perverted into by vultures. And then once they co-opted the culture, they turned it into a rap form. Then they started mumbling when they did it. So what she was saying was, you're not hip hop. She should have said that.
I hope that you're saying you're hoping that's what she was saying.
I know, because the part of the Drake and Kendrick beef is because he called Drake out and saying he don't want him to say the N-word no more. Mm-hmm. And then there was a conversation of, why can't a biracial man say this? Like, why y'all being like that? Boo, 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 boo. And then other people came out and said what Kendrick actually meant by that is that you only use your blackness when it's convenient for you, and you use it to commodify us. So I don't want to hear you say that, because you're using it as a tool, and you're not saying it as a part of the culture. So when she was being emboldened and passionate about this, by basically saying that you're white, it's kind of in that same context of, bro, you're coming from a mindset where you're looking at it from the outside. You cannot talk about this. If it was a hip hop take, if it was a hip hop person, anybody could have said this, but it was Vlad. And she knows who Vlad is, and she knows who he's associated with. So her whole thing was like, don't come in here talking. But she should have chose better words. And if she
Yeah.
chose better words, then it would have went over better. And then he would have just been looking like the hater that he is. But I agree with you, man. I don't feel like she should have said that. But and that's how I feel like it could get misconstrued, because it could be my angle, or she could have been really on the just nope. It was just because he was
Yeah.
white. I appreciate you saying all
and
that.
you don't and you yeah and you don't know which one it is. That's my
Yeah,
thing. I don't know. I don't know whether she was conscientious or whether she was just all out saying she hates white people being a part of hip hop.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So you got to clean that up.
Yeah, and that's just a tricky line. That's a tricky line to toe. It is, because you can't give people wiggle room to even think that that's the angle that you're coming
Exactly.
from.
Agreed.
So
hey, ladies,
Miss Morgan Jenkins, good luck. Vlad is a sucker. We know that for sure, but you kind of gave him a bit of a leg to stand on, in my opinion.
Yeah.
In this instant, it just, it sucks because he is a sucker. But nevertheless, keep doing your thing. She up there at Princeton, keep doing your thing. I'm pretty sure she's enriching a lot of people. I'm pretty sure she is enriching the lives of a lot of those students who go there.
Yeah, for sure.
But
hey, do your thing, Miss Jenkins. And I do have a business where I consult people on their online personas. So you might want to consult me. All right. I'm already working with Tyrese and Magic Johnson. So just go ahead and yeah, man, I'll help you out, sister. We're gonna get you some new work if you ain't at Princeton no more.
Yeah. No Meek Mill though.
No Meek is banned. Hey, like and subscribe, y'all. Meek, I don't need you, bro.
Oh. Playoff Jimmy. Except playoff Jimmy wasn't playing. So, lifelong Miami Heat fans here on this channel. Born and raised in Miami, original fans, not bandwagoners. And Pat Riley wanted to make sure that he set the record straight after Jimmy Butler made comments about how, had he been playing and not been injured, the Heat would be advancing and teams like the Celtics and the Knicks would be sitting at home. So the godfather of Miami, as he is often referred to, wanted everybody to know that these are not comments that are going to sit well with him. So this here says Pat Riley gets feisty about Jimmy Butler's Knicks rant with Heat future in question. Keep your mouth shut. Pat Riley was not amused by Jimmy Butler's recent assertion that the Heat would have beaten the Celtics or the Knicks in the NBA playoffs had he been healthy. The Heat lost the first round series in 5 games, beaten handily in the 4 defeats, and Riley, the team's president, was not in a laughing mood about the Stars' comments during a press conference on Monday. Quote, for him to say that, I thought, is that Jimmy trolling or is that Jimmy being serious? If you're on the court playing against Boston, if you're not on the court playing against Boston, or you're not on the court playing against the New York Knicks, you should keep your mouth shut in your criticism of those teams. Butler missed the Celtics series with an MCL injury suffered in Miami's play-in loss to the 76ers. Butler's comments went viral over the weekend. If I was playing, Boston would be at home. New York damn sure would be effing at home. Josh Hart, come on, man. Butler also said he loved Tom Thibodeau, but wants to beat him to a pulp, a phrase Thibodeau used back at him in response on Sunday. So, while Rowley initially said that Butler would not be traded this offseason, with rumors trickling out after the Heat were eliminated, he left the door open a smidge. There's a possibility that a lot of things are on the table, Rowley said. The Heat reached the NBA Finals last season, but could not mount a similar run out of the NBA play-in tournament this year. So let's go ahead and play a clip of Riley saying this stuff. Now, these comments from Jimmy Butler came during Jimmy Butler's appearance at the Miami Grand Prix, which took place over the weekend here down in Hard Rock Stadium. He seemed like he was on, Jimmy seemed like he was on a little bit of sauce. Okay. When he was making the comments, he seemed like he, was having a good little time when he said those things, but he said it nevertheless. And so Pat Riley had to set the record straight on these comments. So here's Pat Riley.
For him to say that, I thought, is that Jimmy trolling or is that Jimmy serious? If you're not on the court playing against Boston or on the court playing against the New York Knicks, you should keep your mouth shut. And your criticism of those teams, for him to say that.
Thank you, Pat.
All right. So during that same press conference, Pat Riley also said that, because they asked him about extending Jimmy Butler, and his response was essentially that such a huge commitment would have to be contingent upon Jimmy Butler playing in games, being more available. That's what he said. So, what do you make of this exchange? You think Pat Riley was in the right by checking Jimmy Butler on the comments that he made when he talked about how if he were in the game, the Celtics and the Knicks would be at home?
Absolutely. Pat, I was proud of Pat. That whole interview, I had to watch that whole thing, man. I was like, man, Pat talking for more than 5 minutes. So I watched the whole thing, man. Straight shooter as always. And yeah, man, I feel like we're in good hands as long as he's still there. So the reason why we win with the scraps that we always have is because of the identity that we have and Pat Riley. And he's a no nonsense kind of guy. And you got to come in, you got to work hard. There's a pre-screening that has to go on for the person's character, work ethic, and all types of stuff before they even start playing for us. Sometimes we get desperate and snatch stuff out of that, but for the most part, people we sign major contracts to, they have to be heat guys. And Jimmy came in on the humble. He came in on the humble, ready to work, ready to eat, and going crazy. But since he became Hemi Butler, since he became Hemothy, since he became Sir, what he is, Mordello, what he pumping? Michelob Ultra. Come on, man. You know what I'm saying? Since he done, win Hollywood on us. He's gotten a little bit more bold in himself. And I feel as though now he always had a smart mouth. Bro got a smart mouth. I can see why he got in trouble in other locations. I've seen just him having friendly banter. It's a little too abrasive for me. I'm like, I don't know how y'all friends with this boy. He don't know how to not joke. You know what I'm saying? So, and it's very sarcastic. So those statements while he was on the sauce is how he talk. But you don't say that in public. So that's a bad look. So I agree with Pat on that. Also, I'm more upset with his meme after game 2. Because you weren't playing. After I saw the meme, I was like, haha, all right, Jimmy, that you must be coming back for game 3. So it's like, bro, if it's David and Goliath, clearly, bro, we're the Heat were David. And, we finally got our strike in. Whoop. Because first of all, we can always beat Goliath because, well, we always did. And we always beat them because they always sleeping. They're a little bit too arrogant for themselves. And we would come in on the humble, working, grinding, and beat them. And after we won game 2, he comes out with this energy that's not Heat culture. Mocking, making fun. Don't let us get one. Implying as if we're going to win the series. We win the series because we sneak up on them. Not because we're better than them. Talent-wise, they're better than us. We have to beat them technically. And so by him doing that, lit a fire up under them, and they eradicated us for the next 3 games. It wasn't even close. It was all embarrassing. And I'm pretty sure there was the battery in their back because they already know how last year felt. They lost this game. Everybody was dragging them through the mud. Here we go again. They weren't going to have that on their watch. And they have the talent that can railroad you. And they did it. And they've been doing it all season, by the way. They just had to tap into their bag. And they did it. They had one of the biggest margins of victory, per game in history. They had one of the biggest. So they're used to blowing people out, and we're used to scrapping over things. Don't make them get into their blow people out mode. He did that. We lost the series. So I'm pretty sure it wasn't just these comments. It was the meme and stuff like that during the playoffs. So for Pat to say, if you ain't on the court to back that up, don't talk. And he put a battery in those people back, and he left his soldiers out there to get run over by mocking their opponent. You shouldn't do that until the series is over. So what are your thoughts? Do you agree with Sir Pat Riley laying into Jimmy Butler, saying to keep his mouth shut?
I absolutely do agree. At one point on this channel, we did a Heat topic, I think, or maybe it was a Jimmy Butler topic. I forget. But I made the comment that Jimmy Butler was the second greatest Miami Heat player after Dwayne Wade.
Yeah, you did. Hot take.
I said that, and I must take that. I apologize. I need to take that. I need to take that back. I was caught up. I was caught up when I made that comment, and I'll take it back. I rescind that because he's not, and I don't believe that. So I've had to dial that back because I don't believe that to be true. I agree with Pat Riley. And the thing about Pat Riley's comment is the root of it. Like, Pat Riley's comments are rooted in availability, because you shouldn't talk if you're not available to play.
Correct.
Jimmy Butler was not available to play. Why was Jimmy Butler not available to play? Jimmy Butler was not available to play because he hurt himself in a play-in game against the 76ers, a game that the Heat the Heat lost that, but then they won the game against Chicago to get the 8th seed. But Jimmy Butler was unavailable because he was hurt in a play-in game. A play-in game that we had to play in because we were not one of the top 6 seeds in the Eastern Conference. We were not one of the top 6 seeds in the Eastern Conference, in my opinion, mostly because Jimmy Butler flagrantly deprioritizes the regular season.
Correct.
And he either is not available to play in games,
correct,
or he doesn't care and he doesn't even try hard in the games in which he is playing.
Correct.
Had he cared more, played harder in the games in which he was available to play, or just overall played in more games, maybe the Heat are one of the 6 seeds and therefore don't have to play in the play-in, and maybe Jimmy Butler doesn't hurt himself. In the infinite possibility of things that can happen in the universe, maybe if the Heat are not playing a play-in game, Jimmy Butler doesn't hurt his knee. We were in a play-in game because we were the 7th seed or the 8th seed, whatever seed we were. We were in the play-in game because of that. Why are you in a seed that's low? Well, you didn't win enough games in the regular season. Why? In large part because our best player deprioritizes the regular season and otherwise doesn't play in games. And so in the aftermath of that, you want to say, had you been playing, those teams would get sent home. Bro, you need to go home. You need to get sent home. And as much as I appreciate Jimmy Butler's work ethic, because he's not a superstar talent, but he works at being almost productive enough to be on that level, even though he's not that good. When he is engaged and he cares.
Correct.
Where I disengage with him is he does not care nearly enough. He has taken this I turned it on for the playoffs thing way too far.
Yep.
And he is a byproduct of this over coddling of these players in the NBA. This idea that they can do no wrong. Load manage the hell out of them. Let them sit out games. Let them deprioritize the regular season because all we have to do is just get to the playoffs and our seeding doesn't matter. Well, clearly it does because anything can happen. I personally don't think that he would have hurt his knee if we weren't in the play-in. You never know. It's a completely different game, a completely different opponent, a completely different set of circumstances. I would argue that if we weren't in the play-in, if the Heat weren't in the play-in, Jimmy Butler doesn't hurt his knee. but the Heat were in a play-in, I believe, largely because of his availability or lack thereof. Tyler Hero as well, because Tyler Hero missed 40-something games. It was ridiculous.
Yep.
I don't know what the hell that guy had going on. How are you this hurt, bro? But Jimmy Butler to me is worse because he's better. He's a better individual player than Tyler Hero. And even in the games in which you did play, you were clearly disengaged. I can see it just watching the game on my TV. So because of him and other things, but I largely lay that at his feet, he flagrantly deprioritizes the regular season to egregious disrespectful levels. So if you're going to do this and you're going to be that disrespectful towards at least trying to put the team in a better position to not have to scrap it out in play-ins against the Sixers, you really don't need to talk. You do need to sit your ass down. You need to go home, bro. So yeah, I'm with Pat Riley. Get out of here with that, Jimmy Butler. No one wants to hear that. And Pat Riley is well within his right to reserve judgment on giving him a long-term contract extension when he has clearly shown that for the first 8 months of the season, he doesn't care about playing in the games. And when he does play, he doesn't even try hard.
Yeah, I mean, I think I agree with you. The whole notion that I'm gonna turn it on in the playoffs thing was, I felt we play a real grinded out kind of basketball, and I can imagine how they feel playing that kind of basketball like all season long. And I think they just be cutting corners, man. You know, it's like skipping class when we was in high school. You know? And you know, a few days, bro, I had PE 4 times in a day. You know, and I'm like, bro, I'm going back to PE, bro. Like, you know, man. And that's what they do. They just skip a game. Like, I don't feel like going to class. What are you going to give me an F? And they just skip class. And once you get in that habit, it's kind of hard to stop, I would imagine. You know, if you're a person that enjoys that. You know, some people are in the game for another reason. Other people is like, hey, man, I like getting paid, but it really don't matter to the playoffs. But the continuity, the other things, those small little, you know, games where you lost by 6, but, you know, 20 points is sitting on the bench, that adds up. And I agree, we would not have been in a play-in position had Jimmy played as many games as he really could have, and Tyler, because Pat called him out too. And, you know, because he seemed to be over it. He's over this new thing where people are just taking games off. And so he seems to be highly prioritizing guys that's going to play 72. At least 72 games, bro. So, you know, and they said Jimmy didn't play more than, I don't think he played more than 62 or 63 in any of the seasons he's been here. And so that's not even including the games, as you mentioned, where he's completely not involved. He's just on the court.
That's my biggest problem. It's not that, because whatever, these dudes sitting out games, whatever. It's the games in which he did play.
Correct.
You're watching them, and he is so disengaged.
Yes.
You know, it's like you might as well just sit down if you're gonna play like that. Even minus the games in which he sat out, the games he played in, those games alone, if he applies more effort, you win more of those games. Maybe you're not in the play-in, and then I don't think he would have. And then he doesn't get hurt. You know, it's just it's the approach, it's the mentality.
Yeah, and so you know, these guys are doing. You know, these guys as they get older, and they still have enough game to be elite. They're still messing up their legacy still. And Jimmy was building a mythology about himself, and it's still out there for the most part. This is some real in-house stuff. We're the ones that see him play every night. Most people think that Jimmy just got hurt in the play-in, and that's why the Heat fell off. But it's just, we're talking about it as Heat fans, is what we see all the time. And I agree, man. Jimmy's he's awesome when he's healthy and engaged. But when will that be? And Pat Riley's frustration showed in that whole thing. Whenever they brought up Jimmy's name or talking about the situation, he was being very honest about it. And he said that we had a conversation before the season started. Like, we sat down and we had a talk about playing more games, basically putting in more effort. He didn't say all these things like that, but he was saying that we had talks with this man. And basically he went out and did it again. You know. So He's real high on Terry Rozier. He's really high on him. He's real high on Jovic, and he's really high on Jaime. And so I like what we got going on. And last little thing I'll say is when he was getting at Tyler, he called Tyler fragile. He's a fragile person. And I can feel his frustration. And he said that that's the thing out on him, basically. That's probably why we couldn't get market value for him. It's like, how many games this guy gonna play? Is he really even care? You know, what's this guy on? So he probably lost market value or couldn't get as much as he could have this past offseason because of his inability to stay healthy. So, yeah, Pat's over it. I'm over it. I'm tired of being AFC. I'm tired of climbing and scratching our way through things. Like, I want to beat people handily. And that has to change with the personnel somehow, some way. Because I don't think Jimmy's going to change this. He's going to be the same guy if we bring him back. So we're just going to have to do something else. So, yeah, I agree with Pat, man. You know, he nation all day long. You know, it's a love-hate times with Pat. You know, I feel like he move a little too slow sometimes, but I think he wants quality over a splash. So that's probably why he moves so slow. I'll give him that at least. But good luck, Jimmy, man. Hopefully you tighten up, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, we be need yacht that all.
I don't like it. We've talked about this off camera before. In my opinion, the Heat making it to the finals, the 2 years recently that we made it to the finals, 2020, and then again when we made it in 2023, it was a gift and a curse. It was a gift because who doesn't want to get to the finals? But it was also a curse because each year that we got to the finals, we were a low seed. And we were a team that was perceived to be on paper not championship worthy, but because of our style of play and the way that they're coached, we were able to ascend and far exceed the ceiling that our talent would otherwise suggest. And that's all well and good, but a problem that I think came from that is this idea that you can just replicate that every year. And you're not just going to be able to sleepwalk your way into the finals every year. You can't just be a low seed every year and think you're going to get to the finals. And when you think that you can be a low seed and get to the finals, you will deprioritize the regular season. And I think Jimmy Butler takes that crap too far and he deprioritizes the regular season. In my opinion, he does it obviously. Flagrantly. Like, I'm watching the games and it's so obvious that he does it and he doesn't give a damn. And again, it's not just the games that he misses because he missed 22 games. There's 82 games in a season, so he played 60 games. You say that's plenty. Yeah, but the games in which he played, I watched so many of them where it looked like he didn't care.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's that whole thing. Like, yeah, we got to the finals, but you cannot replicate that every year. That's not a formula that you can just replicate year over year. And if you look at the circumstances that led to those situations taking place, like 2020, the league went on hiatus for like 6 months. And then you put everybody into a confined space with no home court advantage, no fans, no travel, in a bubble. Things were so out of loop and wacky, anything can happen. The Lakers won the championship that year, and you know how I feel about that. I don't even think that that's a legit ring, personally. And then, you know, the other year that we made it against Denver, we were an eighth seed, and we were able to get to the finals. But what happens if Giannis doesn't hurt his knee in the first game? Was it his knee or his back? Giannis hurt himself. I think it was his back. He hurt his back in the first game of the series. He proceeded to miss the next 3 games. And we were up in the series like 2-1, 3-1 or something like that. And then he came back, but by then it was too late. Correct. So, like, you know, it's just stuff like that. When you take that into account, these are the things that occurred in lieu of us getting to the championship in those 2 years, despite being a low seed. Even if you take Heat culture and all of that good stuff into account, I don't think that that's something that you can just replicate every single year. That's a dangerous game. It's a dangerous game to play trying to replicate that every season. Correct. But if you get lulled into the belief that you can just do that because you did it 2 times, well, this is what's going to happen to you. And now you got this guy, man. And you know, I don't know. I got love for Jimmy, but I just can't stand this approach to your profession. If you're gonna play in the games, be engaged. Maybe you do not sprain your MCL if you're not in the play-in. I firmly believe that. But on a whole, I'm with Pat. Call this crap out because it's a play that you need to remove from the organization.
Hey man,
And if they don't want to play more games or be engaged more in the games in which they play, then maybe we need to go in a different direction. As much as I appreciate Jimmy for his contribution, it is what it is. And I'm not going to get on Tyler for the engagement part. Tyler is more so just he's always getting hurt,
yeah,
brittle. He's a
yeah,
weak, I don't know what it is. DNA, he needs to drink more milk. I don't know what it is. He's on that Kawhi Leonard stuff. But with Jimmy, it's the engagement thing for me. Just try more, and maybe we'd have a higher seed if you just tried more in the games in which you played.
agreed, man. And shout out to Pat Riley, man. It was nice. It was nice to hear him talk basketball and talk Heat basketball. It was a nice little interview there, and we're gonna need somebody that whoever succeeds this man. We're gonna need that same energy. I do not want to see us go left. I don't want to see us turn into the Atlanta Hawks. Like I ain't trying to look like that. So hopefully they're grooming up the next president of basketball operations and stuff, so they can have the same mindset and rule with the iron fist you got to with these younger guys that just got a bag. Like you still got to really rein these guys in as they grow up to be men. And if there's no mindset or no culture behind getting these guys to turn into professionals. Every time you hear ex basketball players who came through the Heat organizations, all of them say that they learned how to be a professional when they came to Miami, and that's a good thing to have. So hopefully we can keep that up when Pat leaves. But this interview here, if y'all want to take a look at it, you can see how people respect him and then follow what he says because he's got a nice vision and he's stern about it. So yeah, Jimmy, tighten up, man. Like we can't have this in our house, bro. Like we don't operate like this. This is what the divas do, and we ain't that. So yeah, turn up.
Yeah. And look, man, I do. I got love and respect for Jimmy Butler, but he's frankly just not good enough to do whatever he wants.
That's a cold statement, man.
He's not. He's not. He's not that good to where you can just do whatever you want. He's not.
I basically say he's a mortal. He's like a mortal guy who's really good. But then there's people that are just astronomical athletes and just super whatever guys. That's like, and so yeah, he always has to have that work ethic that got him to where he's at to sustain it. Like he can't take his foot off the gas. Like you ain't that. Shout out to Jimmy, man. Let me get a Michelob Ultra. You know, man.
Yeah, I like Jimmy too. I just don't like his. I don't care about the game. I just don't like that stuff. But whatever. Yeah. Shouts out to the Heat, man. Man. Always next year. Your boy is looking into getting some season tickets for the next season, man. So I'm excited about that.
Hey, bro, we gotta catch the we gotta see how the teams look, but I don't know if I want to see the Timberwolves. I don't think they're a real ticket yet, even though Anthony Edwards is out of control. But whatever. If you get the season tickets, bro, you know what I'm saying. I'll come down for a game or two. You know what I'm
saying. Yeah. No, it's like 80%. I've made my choice on getting them. So it's just a matter of what the package is, what the seats look like, how close, and how much.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
But I have been away from the arena for way too long.
I hear that.
As someone who is an original OG fan and not one of these fly-by-nights.
Facts. Hey, make sure you guys like and subscribe too, man. You know what I'm saying? Even if you ain't no Heat fan, but especially if you're a Heat fan. Oh, snap.
And your boy Curtis Jackson is not here for the violence in Chicago. So Curtis Jackson is not okay with the escalation of violence recently in Chicago. He feels like it ain't gangster. and it needs to stop. Curtis 50 Cent Jackson. So he put this out, this little cheeky thing on the internet. I'm telling you, man, we need to do a series on
Wrong messenger.
right message.
Yeah.
We need to do a series on right message, wrong messenger. We need to just do a series on that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, man, 50 Cent has become disenchanted with what's going on in Chicago. So interesting topic here to kick around on the channel. This says 50 Cent deems recent rash of Chicago shootings not gangster. 50 Cent was disturbed by reports of more than 24 victims getting shot in Chicago over the first weekend of May. Chicago shootings caught the attention of 50 Cent on Monday. The G Unit rapper called for a stop to the violence after reading reports of 31 shootings in the Windy City over the weekend. Come on now, this got to stop, 50 Cent wrote. This ain't gangster. This is just crazy. According to the Chicago Police Department, at least 31 people were shot in 24 separate shootings spanning from 6 p.m. on Friday, May 3rd to 11:59 p.m. on Sunday, May 5th. 7 victims were killed per Chicago's ABC and PBS affiliates. One shooting involved a liquor store clerk. 2 armed men entered the store and declared their intent to rob. Around 10:30 p.m. on Friday, a 45-year-old employee exchanged gunfire with the attempted robbers who fled the scene. The clerk suffered a gunshot wound to his left arm. Around 10:45 p.m. that same day, 2 more men suffered gunshot wounds to their arms. Someone in a white sedan shot a 21-year-old man and a 38-year-old man while they were walking on a sidewalk. So this is just a rundown of all the craziness that's been going down up there in Chicago, where they call the Windy City. But yeah, 50 Cent feels like it needs to stop, man. He says it's kind of crazy. I mean, I guess we agree with what he is saying, but do you have an issue with the fact that he's the one saying this?
Yeah, I do, for sure. And I kind of get an angle of this to kind of agree with him, in the sense that it's not gangster. Gangsters don't move like that. You know, gangsters aren't sloppy, moving around, killing people. You know, gangsters are organized. You know, gang is more of an organized crime kind of thing. These just seem like random acts of foolishness, which is crazy. It's kind of crazy. So I can see that angle, but one thing that most people is kind of like the Cardi B situation, where you're just looking at the optics. When you're the G Unit, you know, and you're always talking about shoot 'em up, bang bang, and TV shows glorifying coke sales and doing crime. You would assume that you would assume where this behavior kind of comes from. Now, are they directly listening to you? Perhaps not. Watching your stuff? Perhaps not. But it's being pumped into the pool, though. Just imagine a pool with the right alkaline levels when you put your little bleach thing in there, you know, and it's just running fine. Then you get sludge called, whatever, raisin sludge, and then it's dropped in the pool. It may not contaminate, like, it may not ruin the pool, but the pool is contaminated now. I'm not jumping in there. I gotta wait till that gets cleaned out. And when you're constantly putting sludge in the community, sir, it may not be the person who thinks that they're gangster that does the gangster dumb act. It's the victim that lives in that area. He watches it, not me. And then there's innocent people getting shot, getting killed because they watch too much shoot 'em up, bang, bang, and they think it's a part of their culture. They think they have to behave that way. And they see things all the time and they hear things all the time that reinforce that. So on the optics, people are going to say gangster means that you out here banging, like you out here and you for real about your set. I took it to the side of, real gangsters move in silence. And they get things done on an organized front. But on the petty scale level, yeah, this is gangster. If to be thugging and ready to shoot and kill at whatever, rob, see people, whatever. And they get that mentality from somewhere, man. So I can see if 50 was putting more chlorine in this pool, but he's only adding leaves and sludge. So somebody's gonna have to come scoop this stuff out. And I just took a piece out. So what are your thoughts on this one? Do you feel like Sir 50's got a point here that this ain't gangster, this is just crazy?
Once again, I agree with the sentiment, but him saying it to me is kind of funny.
Yeah, it's wild.
Yeah. Get Rich or Die Trying, he had the song on there, Heat. The whole song is about him running up on people and shooting them.
That's right.
The drama really seems nothing to me. I'll ride by and blow your brains out. Pow! Like the beat, the cadence of the beat is the pulling of a trigger and then shooting. Produced by Dr. Dre. And then on his Massacre album, he has the song with Eminem, Gat Man and Robin. Gat Man, because he's the man with the gat and he's shooting people. And then on that same album, The Massacre, he has the song In My Hood, where he's saying, niggas screw their face up at me on some real shit, son. They don't want beef. I cocked that, aimed that shit out the window, and sprayed till ain't a shell left in my heat. So I'm just having a difficult time reconciling his comments with his music. Mm-hmm. That's the only thing, man. And I know a lot of people there's gonna be people who see this video and they'll leave comments talking about good things 50 Cent has done in the community and positive things that he's done and all of this. Look, man, we no longer recognize that there's a delineation between real life and the art that is this music. We have sort of conflated the two to be the same thing. There's no longer a degree of separation. We believe that these individuals are living out their lyrics. Now, smart people know better. Smart people know that none of this stuff is real and that it's all put on. It's all a show. These guys are not really out here being kingpins and committing crimes like that, getting people killed and stuff. Not for real. Or at least not in 50 Cent's generation. Mm-hmm. And I think we talked about this with Fat Joe. Remember when Fat Joe said he's lied in 95% of his raps? Mm-hmm. When he was defending, who was he defending?
Young Thug, I think.
There you go. Yeah. When he said that, he's lied in 95% of his raps. And my point was, okay, yeah, that may be true. But when you were in your heyday making the songs, your intent behind the music was for people to believe you.
Correct.
So whether 50 Cent is telling the truth or lying, his intent behind a lot of his music, especially when he was at his peak, his intent was for you to believe in the authenticity behind the lyrics. And so now in retrospect, it's kind of interesting that you're coming out saying that the violence needs to stop when you were largely a perpetrator of this type of activity through the music that you put out, where your intent was for people to believe you. Mm-hmm. The reality of that notwithstanding. So, I don't understand this stuff. Like, these people really are trying to have their cake and eat it too, man. They're trying to have it go both ways. They want to be able to make this stuff and pump it out into the streets and have everybody consume it and listen to it. But then on the backside, they want to be able to say, hey, man, we need to do better and we need to stop this stuff. Well, which is it? I'm confused. Help me understand, which is it? Which is it? And the thing is, what he needs to do, and other people like him, is he needs to come out and he needs to publicly say, hey, look, all those times when I spent all those years making those songs, I was being an entertainer. I was not telling the truth. I was lying. That was my musical persona. I'm really a family-oriented dude who wants to raise his son or raise his kids and be a law-abiding citizen who does the right thing. My music was my music, but this is who I am now. Like, people like him need to just come out here with those kinds of disclaimers, mm-hmm. because otherwise you look like somebody who is bordering on hypocrite. to be making that stuff that you made for all those years and then make comments like this. It just I'm confused behind it. I really am. But it is what it is, man. People really want to be able to have it both ways. They don't want you to call them out on hypocrisy, because then you're just being a hater, I guess. But I don't understand it. I like consistency. I thrive off of things that make sense and consistency. And when you can make the music peddling this stuff for years, from 2003 all the way up until he ceased to be like more active as a rapper, he was doing this. And now you can make these kinds of posts and put this kind of stuff out there. Like, I get it, because in your heart of hearts, it's not a good thing. But you also have to understand or realize or take accountability, responsibility for your role in the perpetuation of some of these narratives and tropes, because you did play a hand in that. At the very least, you should acknowledge that. If you're not going to come out with the disclaimer that that wasn't really your real life and that was just your musical persona, at least cop to that part. At least do that much. At least you owe the people that much. If you're going to make these kinds of comments, if you stay silent and don't say stuff like this, then that's perfectly fine. You can just live within the guise that you really are Gat Man and you really are doing this heat and all of this other stuff that you be talking about. But when you're going to come out and make these statements, being morally righteous, engaging in all of this righteous indignation, then, man, you at least have to acknowledge the past. You got to say something. You can't just have it both ways. And I largely find that these entertainer types really just want to have it both ways.
I didn't even know that was a narrative that, he helps out in his community.
No. I don't know that it is. I don't know that it is. I'm just saying people who know more about what 50 Cent does in the community, if he does do things in the community, they may want to bring that up. Yeah, they may want to bring that up.
Yeah, which I'm sure he does. Because it's a write-off. You better be doing that. But and my rebuttal to anybody that would feel that way, though, and it's just it's no knock on the people that he is impacting, because that is significant. But there's more people who get impacted by his entertainment. And if he really wanted to have an impact, then he would change his form of entertainment. And then it would change the output of the viewers. But right now, the only thing he's putting in the brains of these people is prison, guns, organized crime, not so organized crime, snitching, all kinds of nefarious things. So when you keep putting all of that stuff in the bucket of somebody's brain, what do you think the output's going to be? Now, I'm pretty sure there's a lot of people that are fans of the whole series. All of his audio, never did a crime. Proud of you. I'm talking about the young kids or the impressionable people, which is the masses who consume this stuff. So a greater impact, instead of just making a post about it, it would be making a form of mind control to make them think differently, because you give them mind control to make them think the same. So if you want to change the output of the community, if this headline is what actually caught your attention, then I would try to put that effort into your works and not a post. I'm pretty sure that post got covered up with some other type of making fun of somebody else. And, I love 50's online persona. It is hilarious. Yeah, I enjoy that more than his music.
Yeah.
Yeah, he is a sideshow. I love it. I can't stand the shows. But I can't deal with the hypocrisy. So I agree, 50, but hey, man, you know what I'm saying? Tell your homeboy to tell us that. Well, I don't want to hear it coming from you, dog.
Yeah, these people really want to have it both ways. And when I was reading through some of the comments when we did the video where he was upset because Raising Kanan wasn't nominated for an NAACP Image Award. And there was a person who left a comment on that video that was like, here are a couple of shows that he produced that are positive, and point taken. But the amount of shows that he does juxtaposed to that are the opposite far exceed the positive shows that he does.
Correct.
So to your point, I still would kind of fall on your side when it comes to the mind control that he puts into the world through his entertainment endeavors. Because apparently there was a show called For Life that he was behind that was more on the positive side. But I mean, that's one show compared to how many different powers.
Correct. It was stationed in prison.
Yeah, right.
That's
yeah,
one of the buckets again.
Yeah, it still had a theme of prison. Correct.
Yeah, I'm not playing. No,
yeah,
that don't count.
Yeah, the myriad of power shows and the BMF show aren't enough to like that one show isn't enough to offset all those other ones. To your point about the mind control, so I hear that, and I'm inclined to agree with you on that front. I just people need to take more accountability, more responsibility. It's just people, echo chambers are so powerful. These individuals live in their echo chambers and they get to hear the sound of their own voice and they get to hear their speech parroted back to them by the yes people that are around them so much that they don't even understand the weight that their words bear from an accountability standpoint to the rest of the world. And these types of comments scream that. And I maybe I don't know, maybe he'll figure that out and others like him will figure that out, but I just think these kinds of comments are ironic, to say the least, man.
Right.
These people really do want to have it both ways.
And one thing you guys can do is have it both ways as well. If you click the like and the subscribe, so make sure you guys follow the conscious approach.
Yeah. Shouts out to 50, man. He is funny with his social media posts, though.
I love
his Diddy trolls are hilarious. All right, now we're gonna get into Marlon Wayans, who gave us some insight recently on why he never got married. Apparently, the reason why he has never been married and he vowed to stay a bachelor for life is because he never wanted another woman to take the place of his mother.
Whoa.
So apparently Marlon vowed to his mother that no woman would ever come before her, and his mother would be his number one woman in his life. And so as a result, that has sort of played a heavy hand in why he never got married.
Wow, that's whoa. Oh, damn, bro.
Yeah, so we'll allow the audience and the people to decide how much they believe this or not. But this article from Complex here says Marlon Wayans again says his mom is the reason he never got married. Never wanted my mother to feel second. Marlon Wayans never wanted his late mother to be jealous of whoever he decided to marry, and for that, he still hasn't wed. Ahead of his upcoming Prime Video stand-up special, Good Grief, where he recounts the passing of his parents, Wayans spoke to the New York Times about his reasons for not marrying during his mother's lifetime. Wayans' mom, Elvira Alethea, passed away in July 2020 at 82, just 3 years before the passing of his father, Howell Stoughton Wayans, who was 86. My mother's death broke me. It shattered me into a million pieces because that was my girl, Wayans 51 told the publication. I never got married because I never wanted my mother to be jealous of a woman. I never wanted my mother to feel second to any woman. When pressed by New York Times journalist David Marchese about whether he knew that was the reason, Wayans answered, "Oh, absolutely. That was one of 5 reasons," he continued, "and my mom was very needy. I told my mother on her deathbed, I never got married because I always wanted you to be my number one girl. Those were my last words. I said, take that to heaven with you." The Wayans siblings, including Keenan Ivory Wayans, 65, Damon Wayans, 63, Kim Wayans, 62, and Sean Wayans, 53, have either been married or are currently married. Meanwhile, Marlon Wayans previously declared his bachelor status 1 year after his mother's death. I never got married because I knew my mom needed me, he told Essence in 2021. Women sometimes want to battle for your attention. They want to battle for your love. They want to be the one. Me and my mama share the same birthday. I'm not trying to hear you. So,
Man,
what do you make of this? Are you buying this? What do you think about his comments that he never got married because he wanted his mom to be number one and never have to fight for his affections with another woman?
that's a crazy. That's wild, bro. Like I don't know how to feel about that. I think it's sad if it's true. Um, I don't know how you get roped into that one, bro. Because I'm all for loving your parents. I love my parents. So I get that. And by the way, for them to be up there at what 82 and 86, so they lived a good one. So they did their thing. So for him to know that while things were happening, I could see if this was a hindsight thing where, you know what, I put so much energy in this that I never did that. But if you knew it the whole time, it's the thing where it's like, I don't know how to feel about that. I don't know. I'm not gonna try to tear a man from the love of his mom, but you do have to, as a man, you got to move on and leave the nest. And so, there's nothing wrong with keeping in contact with your mom, visiting your mom all the time, having her move into your house. You could be married and have your mom live with you, but to have some type of whatever this is, whatever energy that they had going on, it feels slightly not like erotically inappropriate. It was just inappropriate. And I don't think they should have been that level of close, because you can be very close to your mom and not that close. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't get that. So I think that's sad, man, to live your whole life like that and be in a position where everybody knows your name and you're Mr. Celebrity Man, and to not get you a legacy for real because of that is kind of wild. I've never heard a case like that, especially from a celebrity. So it's interesting, man. I would have told him to leave the nest, man. I'm all for loving your mama, man. I love my mama, and can't nobody tell me otherwise. But I had to go off to college, and I had to go earn some stripes. So hey, man, it's sorry to hear about his the passing and all, but yeah, man, I think this is a sad case for him. What are your thoughts on Sir Marlon? Not leaving the nest, not leaving his mom's side, and therefore not getting married.
Yeah, trying to be sensitive. Yeah, trying to be sensitive to what is very clearly a tremendous love and appreciation for his mother.
Yeah,
Which of course I understand and can respect that as well.
Mm-hmm.
But this to me sounds kind of weird. So in that article, he said there's like 5 other reasons, but he also said that was one of the reasons.
Mm-hmm.
And he emphasized this one as if it was the primary reason.
Mm-hmm.
But, I don't know him, so I'm not going to attempt to suggest that he's not being truthful or that he's, smidgen or kind of lying. I don't know the guy, right? So, I'm going to assume that there's some truth to his comments. But I will say this, though.
Mm-hmm.
We've met. I know people personally.
Mm-hmm.
I have a friend or two who I believe is going to be single his entire life. I have a friend, and I believe that this guy is never going to get married, never going to settle down. He's going to be a single man for the duration of his entire life.
Mm-hmm.
If you sit this guy down and you talk to him about relationships, he will give you all of the circumstances and the conditions under which he would get married.
Okay.
Yet, for whatever reason, he never seems to be able to find himself with those conditions at his disposal so that he can make that decision.
Mm.
So if you can say I'll get married under if this and this and this and this lines up, but you are constantly never finding yourself in a position for this and this and this and this to line up ever, then you're just going to be single for the rest of your life. But you'll continue to pay lip service to the idea that if the time and the person and the conditions are right, you will do it.
Mm.
And what I have learned over time is that these guys who talk like this say those things because it's the nice thing to say, but really they don't mean it. They're romanticizing over the idea of settling down, but in their heart of hearts, they don't actually want to. What they want to do is continue to be single so that they don't have to care about anyone but themselves. They don't want to take that next step to be a part of a lifelong partnership. They want to be single forever, and they just want to be able to kind of play the field and be single and just casually meet and date women. But I kind of feel like certain men are ashamed to admit that openly because it's nicer. It's more morally appropriate to say I am the settle down type, because I guess they feel as though there's a judgment that is passed, that is sort of accorded to them if they are openly admitting that they don't want to be about that life. So therefore they cloak it under the idea that they would settle down and would get married under certain conditions, even though those conditions will never come, because they don't actually want to get married. They don't actually want to settle down. They actually want to be single for the rest of their lives, but they want to be given the benefit of the doubt. So how do they get the benefit of the doubt? By get married or, even though those conditions will never take place. I know several guys who are like this. They romanticize over the idea, even though that day will never come. Now, is that Marlon Wayans? I'm not exactly sure, but I can hear some of those dudes who I know, who I firmly believe will be single for the rest of their lives. I can in a roundabout way hearing them tell me, well, I don't want any woman to come before my mom. Like, I can hear them saying that.
I hear that.
I can hear them saying that as one of the rationalizations behind why they continue to live the way that they live. And it's like, hey, bro, you don't got to justify nothing to me. I'm not here to judge you. You want to be single the rest of your life? Cool. That's perfectly fine. I'm not one of those people. If you feel that people judge you for that, just know I'm not one of those people. I'm not judging you for that. If you want to be single for the rest of your life, that's okay. That's perfectly okay with me. You don't got to put up a front for me. But you get a lot of these dudes. I know two in particular off the top of my head. I'm not going to say their name, but they got all the excuse and all of the scenarios in the world under which, if these conditions are met, yeah, man, I'm the marrying type. Bro, you're not. You're not the marriage type. You're not the settled down. You're just not built for it. You're not. And that's okay.
Yeah,
that's
bro.
okay. And I can hear, and like I said, you get them in a conversation, man, they start waxing poetically about this relationship stuff. They'll tell you, oh, my mom's this and my mom's that, and da-da-da. One of them, he used to bring up his mom a lot when we got on these conversations, not using the exact terms that Marlon used, but in the ballpark. So my thing is, I don't know Marlon Wayans from a can of paint. I just know him from the Wayans brothers, those goofy, scary movies, and some of the other stuff that he's done. So maybe he is being authentic and genuine when he talks like this. But there's also a part of me that says maybe he's just one of those people who will forever romanticize over the idea of being settled down, but that day will never come, because he's just really not in actuality built for it.
Yeah, he might be. Either if it's a situation where, again, because this is wild stuff. I mean, it's your mama, but at the same time, dog, like, nobody should come in the way of your life, period. And you should learn how to balance the energies that come in and out of your life. You can't let anybody dominate your energy, no matter who they are. And so the part about this that's disappointing is that he's saying that he couldn't do a life goal potentially because somebody else was hogging that space. And that's like not cool. In this context, it just happened to be his mom, and she's happened to pass away. All this is not cool, but it's a situation where it's like, man, bro, like you probably missed out on good parts of life because there wasn't a balance around. And so you could still enjoy your mama, your other loved ones, and everybody else, but there has to be something for you. And so, yeah, man, it just sucks. But I guess the lesson in this is it doesn't have to necessarily be a family member or anything like that or whatever. But I guess the overall lesson, man, is, don't allow anybody to hog up your energy, period. And allow time for yourself to rebalance and get straight and then revisit this person again. There's nothing wrong with that. But once a certain level of energy becomes domineering and they're not your spouse, it's like, hey man, you gotta get the ball rolling. And even if it is your spouse, if it, y'all still need y'all time and space, and if they crowd you and all this other weird stuff, like, balancing energies is a very powerful thing. And so I'm disappointed that somebody with the resources that he has, the siblings that he has, that he got himself caught in a situation where he devoted a lot of energy, in a non-balanced way. So best of luck to Sir Marlon. His stand-ups are, I haven't laughed at anything that he does as stand-up, but he's a funny man. The Wayans Brothers is top 5 sitcom for me. I can sit down, I can watch episode after episode. That stuff is hilarious. So the Wayans, the whole family, all of them are cool, man. But this is a sad situation, man. Sorry, Mr. Marlon, man. But hopefully your show does well, your Netflix special, whatever it is.
Yeah, and to add on to that, I find it hard to believe that his mom was imposing this on him. Like, I don't think his mom was saying, "Hey, son, you need to put no woman before me." Maybe. And again, I don't know. I'm just thinking. I'm thinking of people as reasonable individuals, right? So I'm kind of assuming here that his mom wasn't doing this. That this was something that he imposed on himself.
Possibly, yeah.
which makes it even more interesting that he came to develop this complex, because unless your mother is telling you not to settle down because you need to prioritize me over other women, you're kind of doing this to yourself.
Right.
And why do that if she's not imposing this on you?
Correct.
So it's interesting. They're very interesting comments. I kind of think they're a little left. I think they're a little left. And I think, I don't know him, but I've heard men talk like this before. And I just kind of feel like he may just be somebody who's just built for the single life into perpetuity. And people like that tend to give you various reasons and rationalizations for why they are that way. And that's fine, but the psychology behind it, I think that's where it comes from. Because they ain't gonna say, "Oh, I want to just be single so that I can just have all my options with women and not be morally constrained because I want to be with as many women as possible." Stuff like that, right? They're not gonna say stuff like that, but they'll say stuff like this, and so it just depends on the individual. But I do think that they are interesting comments. But I think more or less he just may be somebody who's just not built for the relationship life. Whether his mom was doing, whether he felt this way about his mom or not, I feel like he may just not be built for it.
Facts. Hey, don't let nobody dominate y'all energy, y'all. But one thing y'all can dominate is that subscribe button. Golly. Make sure you guys leave a like as well, man. We over here every Tuesday night with
Yeah, they do. They can't control that energy for sure. Yes. Last up, we got Whack 100 and Jim Jones. That's interesting. 2 Whack 100 topics in consecutive weeks. Last week we talked about Whack 100 commenting on Diddy Puff, the diddler.
No, that was Suge Knight.
Oh, that was Suge Knight. Well, they both kind of give off the same vibe.
They
That's why
the
I
same.
confused them. Yeah, they both
Hey,
kind
I
of
never seen them in the same room, bro. Let's say
yeah.
that.
They both kind of give off the same energy. My bad. So yeah, I'm wrong. That was Suge Knight. But yeah, this is Whack 100, and he's accusing Jim Jones of snitching because
Oh.
Jim Jones got into an altercation at an airport down here, no less. Jim Jones is at Fort Lauderdale International Airport, an airport that I am very familiar with, and got into a scuffle and got the law involved, in an effort to protect himself. And WAC 100 seems to think that because Jim Jones got the law involved, that he was like telling or snitching. So this here says Jim Jones accused of snitching by WAC 100 over airport fight. Jim Jones is a snitch in WAC 100's book for talking to the police following his altercation with two men at a Florida airport. As previously reported, the Dipset rapper was involved in a violent confrontation over the weekend at Fort Lauderdale Hollywood International Airport. The three people involved were caught on camera going at each other on an escalator, after which two officers from the Broward County Sheriff's Office broke up the scuffle. When one of them subsequently took a cooperative Jones away to a seating area, the rapper claimed that he was defending himself and argued, "It's two of them against me." Sharing a clip of the incident to Instagram on Sunday, Wack accused the New York MC of ratting. At Kendrick Lamar might as well add this to the next song, "Telling is Telling," he wrote. "Y'all gonna really act like y'all don't hear this man at Jim Jones ratting. Under no circumstances do we identify or give statement out our mouth. Let the cameras do their jobs. Y'all will get mad because it's me, but facts is facts. This is telling. His name will be in a police report with a verbal statement." Most replies in the comment section of the above post were in Jones's favor. This included Lil Scrappy, who replied, "Law, LOL, no, they don't count. They the oppressors." Moments after the scuffle was published online, the Harlem rapper took to Instagram himself and said in a since deleted post, "To all my family, I am good. Love y'all. Way too many calls and texts to reply to. God is good." He went on to reassure his loved ones in a clip, adding, "I'm all right. I gotta get dressed for this party, man. I'll be with y'all. I'll be right with y'all. Promise you. I'm all right." So blah blah blah. And here's a little post that WAC 100 posted of the incident at the airport with Jim Jones.
He assaulted me. They both assaulted me.
Go sit down.
They both assaulted me.
Your ass down. I don't fucking care. Sit your ass down. Sit your ass down.
He assaulted me.
All right, so there you go for what it's worth. So I guess what Scrappy was saying is you can tell on the police so long as the altercation you're involved in involve white people. I guess that's what Scrappy was saying.
Mhm.
But yeah, so what do you take from WAC 100 calling Jim Jones out for snitching because he was cooperating with authorities at the airport?
I feel as though this is no different than the DJ Vlad tweet about it wasn't mixed well enough. I feel like this whole snitching thing that we have in our community needs to be addressed. And the whole premise of snitching comes from guys who do crimes. And they do crimes with other people who are doing crimes, and don't want to tell on this person. So that's great. But for civilians, we shouldn't have to deal with these street laws. One thing WAC 100 does is he's always promoting these street laws. And that's his whole agenda, is to make sure that everybody stays in this box of hood stuff. Now, Jim Jones is no different, honestly. You know what I'm saying? I've seen videos of him at the gym in his Timbs and other very New York things and working out. He's a street dude. So he subscribes to the no snitching clauses. But one thing that he was doing right there at the airport was being a civilian. So just because the man gives a written statement and he testifies with and cooperates with police, if it wasn't anything dealing with a crime, then Jim Jones didn't do anything wrong. So, but one thing about Whack 100, he's gonna sit around and enforce these street etiquette, street laws, and he's gonna make people think that regular everyday behavior is sucker stuff. And it's like, no, I'm a civilian. This is not sucker stuff. So, so yes, Jim Jones is a street dude, but if a street dude walks into a place and let's say somebody assaulted this guy's not even doing a crime. He's a street dude. You know what I'm saying? But he's not doing a crime. And somebody comes and violates them, for bigoted reasons. That guy's going to call the cops. Or maybe he's too street for that. Maybe he's going to come back and get his lick later. But, hey, man, I'm a civilian, y'all. And one thing about it, much like how Charleston White is, I'm calling the cops on your ass. So don't play with me. I'm getting the authorities involved. I'm a civilian, man. I'm not out here banging, bro. So yeah, man, that's my take on this, man. I think this is just more Whack 100 just being himself, trying to get everybody to stay in this street mindset. And to me, there was nothing wrong that occurred there. So what are your thoughts on either Jim Jones getting into a fight at the airport, Whack 100 laying down the law for snitching? How do you feel about it?
Maybe if it was somebody not Jim Jones, maybe if it was Michael B. Jordan,
he wouldn't have said
100 wouldn't have said that.
That's
but
true.
I get maybe because it's Jim Jones, and Jim Jones is, like you said, Mr. Street guy. I'll run up on you. Very similar. Jim Jones is another person that if he said, "Hey man, the violence got to stop in Chicago," I'd be like, "Really, bro? You
you of all people?"
Yeah. I'd be like, "Really, bro? Come on, man." So maybe Whack 100 is saying this because Jim Jones is in fact one of these dudes who champions the streets. But yeah, I don't have too much to add. I think this is an incident. This is an instance in which you have these individuals, Whack 100, who views all of life and reality through the prism of street rules and street law.
Correct.
So much so that even when you are in everyday civilian world and dealing with everyday civilian scenarios, street law still applies. So, even if I'm at Toys R Us, do they still have that?
No,
they still
bro.
do Toys R Us?
Nah,
I think Toys R Us is out of business. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So even if you at Barnes and Noble, Best Buy, and somebody violates you in Best Buy, according to Whack 100, you're supposed to just not say anything.
Stand on business.
I guess exact street justice on this person who violated you in Best Buy, thus putting yourself at risk for incarceration.
Correct.
But I guess when you're a part of that reality, that's what you have to be willing to do at all times. Be willing to incur the risk, the potential for charges, incarceration, so on and so forth. I'm very much like you. If I'm at Best Buy and somebody violates me in some kind of way, I'm getting security.
Yeah,
I'm calling the cops. This is Best Buy. I'm not at the check cashing place in Liberty City. I'm not on the corner somewhere. I'm at Best Buy. I'm at UFit. I'm at the bookstore. I'm at the mall. I'm not going through all of this. I'm calling the authorities. I'm calling security. That's what they get paid for. My hard-earned tax dollars as a civilian who makes legal money is put forth so that these individuals can be underpaid to protect and serve me. So I am going to see to it that they do their jobs. This goofy type of stuff from people like him, he can miss me with that. He can go somewhere with his street stuff. But it's people like him who allows people like me to roll my eyes at people like 50 Cent for saying the violence needs to stop.
Correct.
Because if you ask Whack 100, 50 Cent's music is gospel. Now I don't know if Whack 100 likes 50 Cent like that. I'm just saying, in the eyes of an individual like him,
Mm-hmm.
50 Cent is well within his right to make comments like that, despite all of the stuff that he has done to perpetuate those very same behaviors.
Correct.
These individuals don't understand the idea of responsibility or accountability. They just don't get it. So he can miss me with that. Um, you know, not everybody in the world, not everybody in the universe is equipped to handle things in the street way. And like I said, this is not the corner. This ain't the block. I'm not in Liberty City, Opelika, Carroll City. I am not at the check cashing store or the liquor store on the corner. I'm in civilian world in the suburbs. I am at an international airport. There is
Right.
security in this place, and these individuals violated me. So I am going to get security. Don't agree with Whack 100, but he's one of these guys. You know, he's that goon type person. You know, he comes from that mold. You know, uh, I'll never make the news again. My man will shoot you, and he's the guy. He's the guy that they're referring to in the song when they say, "My man will shoot you."
Mhm.
And he embraces that willingly. So that's his mindset, and it is what it is. But I vehemently disagree.
100%, man. And I know most people view Whack 100 as just that, 100% whack. But I do think that there's a lot of young people out there that are impressionable. They're just figuring things out, and yeah, man, Whack 100 is not the guy. Um, and his job and his duty is to promote um backwards logic into our community. He's pumping sludge into the pool as well. So if you just listen to him, because I'll listen to him talk about whatever stuff, just to laugh. But none of this stuff is gospel. You shouldn't be living by any of these weird codes. Somebody pull up on you, I don't care what you got going on. If you're in the airport, bruh, what you gonna retaliate in the airport? Like, let's not encourage crashing out to the youth. So I don't care for his take. And yeah, Jim Jones, you slid this time, bro. Normally I ain't going to defend your ass, but this time you did the right thing, bro. You did the right thing this time. Hey, that what album was that? I think that was the one where it had balling on it. What was the name of that one?
Hustler's poem, POME, I think.
Now that thing was good. I was playing that, but hold up. It was all because of Max B. So it was all because of Max B, man. Because if Max B didn't write it, he was in the hook or something. Every song I liked, I was like, man, who did this? Max B names was all over it. So, but I still used to bang that thing back in the day, where I was like 2005, 6 or something like that. I used to crush that thing.
Yeah, it was Hustler's poem, and poem was an acronym that stood for product of my environment. POME. But yeah, that's the album that was on. That's his biggest hit to date. It's got to be. I don't think he
Yeah.
did anything bigger than that.
Nah.
Yeah, that album had a song on there produced by the Runners called "Reppin' Time."
Yeah.
And that beat was crazy. That was prime Runners. I don't know what happened to those guys. What
I don't
happened
know
to the
either.
Runners?
I don't know.
That was those guys were, man, they made some good beats, man. Those guys were like Justice League and all of those people before they came around. Like the Runners, like in terms of like the way that they made beats, those guys were top notch.
Yeah, agreed.
Damn Jim Jones, man. But yeah, I'm not with Whack 100 on this. I think that was a whack take, and he needs to go sit down with his whack self. That's my opinion.
Agree. 100. 100.
Very good. Very good. But that's going to go ahead and close us out for tonight, man. Thanks to everybody for tuning in. JV Wins Dogon SS. Check us out. Conscious Approach on Instagram at Con Approach, CONAPPROACH. I'm on Instagram at JV Wins, JVWINS. Hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, leave a comment, let us know what you think about the commentary in this or any other video. Check us out wherever you get your podcasts as we continue to upload these RSS feeds. Until the next video, stay logical, think for yourself, stay on your square, man. Jimmy Butler, be more available. Stop playing around with my team. Stop deprioritizing the regular season. Go Heat. Nuggets ain't looking too good, but I think I'm gonna be rooting for the Timberwolves. So
Yeah, crazy, ain't it?
go Timberwolves. Just no Celtics and no Knicks.
Yeah.
So go Timberwolves. But until next time, we'll catch y'all on the next video.
Yeah, word. Hey, shout out to Mike Conley too, bro. He balling, man. That's my dog, man.
Yeah.
Hey, and of course it's Dogon SS. You can find me on Instagram at Dogon_SS and on YouTube at Dogon SS. Also on TikTok. God damn. You can follow me over there, Dogon_SS as well. And as I say on every part, guys, don't be too high, don't be too low. Keep it calm, keep it chill, keep it player, and don't let anybody get you off your pivot. So until the next time, everyone, have yourself a glorious evening. We'll catch you guys on the flip side.
Yes, sir, man. Until next time, man. Everybody stay righteous. We will see you later. Peace.
Peace. Go Heat, man. Forever. I don't care about y'all haters. Go Heat.